People who make advertisements for girls' toys don't seem to have any idea how girls play with them. Barbies don't have nice civilized tea parties and talk about boys, it's more like Game of Thrones except everyone is a lesbian. If you have a bachelor's degree in science or engineering, you have as much formal science education as Bill Nye. You are officially a science guy. Waterboarding at Guantanamo Bay sounds super rad if you don't know what either of those things are. We have no problem wearing the same socks all day, but once they come off for 1 second, it's gross to put them back on. Your dog thinks fetch is a game that the two of you made up, and he loves you for that. There should be a reality show where flat earthers have to find the edge of the world. By always blaming millennials, we are showing that our generation, which raised them, doesn't take responsibility for our problems. The Nordic people went from being the most feared and hardcore raiders to being the nicest and politest people in Europe. When you cannot sleep because you can't stop thinking about something, it's like a single program not letting the computer shut down. Sex is a lot like depression. Middle-class parents don't realize that their children are having it. Some guy died running 26 miles and now people do it for fun. Basically rubbing it in his dead face. In the Harry Potter universe, where paintings and images can interact with those looking at them, waifu pillows are probably a lot more interesting. When smart kids share random facts, adults tell them how smart and interesting they are. When smart adults share random facts, people tell them they're annoying and weird. There should be a millennial edition of Monopoly where you just walk round the board paying rent, never able to buy anything. The super rich have fast cars, private jets, many large homes, exclusive designer fashion, live-in chefs, original artworks, and the same phone as you. Throwing a dead fly in the garbage would probably be seen as respectful by the fly community. Pornhub comments are civil because everyone has had their hit of dopamine. Soon games will advertise no DLC/microtransactions just like food advertises no trans fats. Being a blacksmith must have been a real panty dropper back in the day, seeing how Smith is the most common surname today. Today, millions of children will ring the doorbells of countless real-life murderers, rapists, and drug dealers. Cuttlefish can change color but can't see color. Maybe we physically change in a perceptible way based on our emotions but can't perceive it because we lack the senses to notice. Cocaine and Gillette razor blades cost too much to end up in some random kid's Halloween candy. No company has ever survived after its product killed more than 400 million of its consumers with evidence, except for cigarette companies. The fact that so many people make so much effort on the internet to make other random people from around the world laugh/feel better is a great achievement of the human race. If boys screamed at girl bands the way girls scream at boy bands, it would be terrifying and hilarious. The reason Ouija boards say don't play alone is because if you did, nothing would happen. You go to math class in school so that you can unlock different buttons on your calculator. We get more starlight during the day than we do at night. Due to the existence of fireworks in the Lord of the Rings universe, Middle-earth historically speaking is probably only a few hundred years away from guns and military explosives. People who seek relationship advice online are potentially altering family trees for thousands of generations based on input from total strangers who have limited information about one side of the story and no stake in the outcome. This is not the year for mistletoe in the workplace. Accidentally liking someone's post while snooping through their profile is the digital equivalent of stepping on a twig while sneaking through the forest. Harry Potter could have been hallucinating everything due to carbon monoxide poisoning by being stuck in the cupboard under the stairs. Unborn babies are the only people allowed to kick pregnant women. A kid who just learned the alphabet must look at a computer keyboard and think grown ups are a bunch of fucking idiots. Considering the size, shape, and position of a unicorn's horn, it would most likely be used for stabbing potential predators after a high-speed charge. This adaptation would most likely go with an extremely aggressive temperament that would make unicorns one of the most dangerous animals in the world. If Star Trek-like transporter technology were invented, the airline industry would spend billions to discredit it as unsafe and scary. When someone breaks up with you, You don't only lose your partner but also the person you would go to tell about what just happened to you. You actually are the boss fight for every enemy in the game. In the wizarding world, rappers would be the hardest to battle. Imagine how fast they could cast multiple spells. As a graphic designer, my entire career exists because I was able to pirate Photoshop 10 years ago. Our belly buttons are basically the same thing as holes in fruit, where the stem goes. Rich people used to watch poor people fight in arenas, now poor people watch rich people fight in arenas. Before the internet, nerds and fanboys were getting bullied. After the internet, nerds and fanboys became the bullies. One day you'll stop being asked what you want to be when you grow up, and instead be asked what you wanted to be. We have been catching fish using the same trick for centuries and they never learned their lesson. It's gotta feel so good to moo as a cow. Probably feels really good to moo. The first humans sent on a voyage to another solar system might be greeted by humans who were sent later using faster spaceships. Any fact about yourself that you've never told to anyone is technically one of the unknown secrets of the universe. When you sit on the toilet you connect your butthole up to the large network of connected buttholes. Mark Zuckerberg used to be a hero of the digital age, but now he has lived long enough to see himself become the villain. Being 5 minutes early to an appointment doesn't feel that early, but being 5 minutes late feels really late. Baby gates are the exact equivalent to, this area is locked until you've gained more experience. If you're 25 and single in 2018, nobody bats an eye. If you're 25 and single in 1818, people worry you'll die an old maid. If you're 25 and single in 1418, it's because your third husband just died of the plague. Old trailers did not do the movies justice. New movies do not do the trailers justice. Clark Kent would be outed as Superman pretty fast if he ever accidentally pushed a pull door. Earth is a dinosaur planet, and humans are just mutants left over after the apocalypse. They say with pessimism you'll either be correct or pleasantly surprised, but that's an awfully optimistic way to see pessimism. You never notice how much your head weighs until you're resting it on your sleeping dog. We used to wonder about kids who threw tantrums in stores to get their parents to buy them shit. Now they're the adults who throw tantrums in stores to get managers to give them shit. Parents begging for grandchildren have the same mentality as a child begging for a puppy, they get all of the cute with none of the work. We joke that birdsong is just a pretty way of birds shouting at each other for sex, but really that's all most of our pop music is anyway. By law our cars have to be road-worthy, but the roads don't have to be car-worthy. Thor Ragnarok is really about how nothing brings together two siblings like ganging up on the third one. Pulling the plug on a brain-dead patient is like kicking him for inactivity. People that wait until they're married to have sex only have sex with people in their family. Shrek may unintentionally have the most realistic message of all animated films in that, regardless of inner beauty, people will probably end up with someone who matches them outwardly. We live at the bottom of an ocean of air, and lack the ability to swim in it. In Bohemian Rhapsody a key point was that radio stations would never play a 6 o'clock song, because listeners wouldn't want to sit through it. Yet in the movie they never play the whole song, probably because they felt audiences wouldn't want to sit through it. Once fully autonomous vehicles become standard, we will actually have to leave on time because they probably won't speed for us. Honey is totally underrated. It's the only natural food that's made without destroying any kind of life. It's also the only food that won't rot. If humans colonize the moon, it will probably attract retirement homes as the weaker gravity will allow the elderly to feel stronger. There are very old marine animals still alive, who remember the time before motors and sonars when oceans were silent. It's 2019, and not one cereal company has created Ziploc bags for the cereal. Out of the millions who saw Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back in the 1980 theater, at least one person went to the restroom or missed the scene where Darth Vader reveals he is Luke's father. Ethics is the condom of life. It's a lot more fun without it, but you know better. There's a moment during the cremation process when the meat is perfectly cooked. Putting groceries in the freezer is like Tetris, but taking them out is like Jenga. At -40 we are all on the same page, it's cold as fuck and even Fahrenheit and Celsius can't be bothered arguing for a moment. Studying physics is essentially being taught a simple structure, and then told actually, scratch that, the truth is actually far more complicated over and over again until we reach the point where we still don't know the truth, only that we do not have it.